Hello, Dr. Grabow here. I want to talk to you a little bit about turkey frying safety. If you're like me, fried turkey is one of the best things to have on Thanksgiving. But there's ways to make it much safer than the way we may see on YouTube or other videos where the focus is more on cooking rather than keeping ourselves safe. First and foremost, you need to understand this time of year, Thanksgiving, #1 time for home fires. Firefighters in your town, across the country will tell you, worst time, not just for turkey frying, but also in the kitchen. We'll discuss that later. So what we want to cover is two things. One, how to prevent fires, and two, how to prevent burns. So the first thing, your setup. You want to make sure that you're on a stable base. That's why we're on a 4x8 piece of wood. You may have a flat surface you're working on, that's great. Maybe a portion of your yard, that's great. I'm on grass, which can be slippery, so we wanted a flat surface. Nothing's going to shake, nothing's going to move. Secondly, my propane is on a propane stand. Do you have to do that? No, but I think it's a safer way. When you have your distance between your fryer and your propane, make sure there's some slack for your cord, because if you bump it, you have a little bit of like, oh, stop, before you all of a sudden pull it. If it's taut, you're going to knock something over. Finally, how do we stop a fire if it starts? Well, they'll tell you, obviously, the fire down there shouldn't be hitting the oil up here. You want to make sure you first immerse your bird in water to see just how much oil you need to just keep it immersed. Because if you put too much oil in, when you put that bird in, it's going to spill over, and that's a surefire way to start a fire. You want to smother a fire, especially with oil. So you want to have a lid. Whatever you're using, make sure that lid is handy. Secondly, a fire blanket. This is something you easily get online. At the end of this video, we'll show you links on how to find this. This thing's specifically made for the kitchen. It's made for these emergencies. Not only could you wrap it around a person who's on fire, then to pat them out and drop and roll, but you also just yank this, the whole thing comes out, you could throw it right over the fire. The advantage of that is as soon as you get rid of the air, you stop the fire. You should have a fire extinguisher as well. The reason you want to have a fire extinguisher is because why not have more than one way to put out the fire? If that oil spills and this whole thing's engulfed in flames, you may not be able to use that, but you want to make sure you get that fire out before it gets to the propane tank. That's why you have this. And as you can imagine, for this video purposes, we have this set up right here so you can see with my buddy Jack, but you want to have your extinguisher far enough away so that it's not going to be in the flames if, God forbid, something happens. Now, those are the main areas that we see for preventing the fire. Now, what about burns? Well, one that's kind of a transcending between burns and the fire is when you put the bird into the hot oil. Most videos will tell you that the oil should be around 350 degrees. That's good. That's still hot enough to burn your hand on contact with it. And if there's too much oil and you put the bird in too fast, or you don't count how much oil you have by using the water as a method, that's going to bubble over, it hits those flames, and engulfs the whole thing. So as we know, we put this inside the bird, and then we use this type of device to hold it. Obviously, for this demonstration, I'm not going to be using this, but you get the same idea. So when you have to lift the bird in and out, you have to lift the bird in and out on an arm's length, which, if it's a turkey this size, no problem, pretty easy. I could actually double that up, because you want to be far enough away from that oil so you're slowly letting that in. Well, what happens if you have a big family and you have a lot of people coming and you have a turkey this size? Now, this is hard enough to lift when it's close to my body. Trying to have that at arm's length, yeah, forget about it. If you're one of my patients I've done shoulder surgery on, or if you had a shoulder replacement, or you're just weak, like most of us, that's going to be hard to do. You do not want to put a turkey in the oil standing right next to the oil, because your eyes and your face is in line of fire. Even if you're wearing eye protection, which you have to be wearing, when you put it in, if you happen to slip and this goes in, that oil is coming right up at your face. So you want to make sure you keep it away. How do you do this? Well, if that turkey is too heavy, have a friend help. You can go to Lowe's and Home Depot. You can get some of this bracket. You may have this laying around your home, not a problem. Simply put this device that they give you through that, and then when you're going to be raising it or lowering it, you're on one end, your buddy's on the other end, and so it's half the weight. You're both far enough away, you both can slowly lower that thing in, and then when you need to get it out, same method to take it out. Now, I've had some people, I told about this method, and they said, well, couldn't you just use that in a fulcrum like you're fishing? Yeah, that's true. If you're an angler, you know, you certainly can do this method of bringing in and out. Is that safe? It's safer than trying to use your hand. And this is a lever. This bird is lighter doing it this method than it is lifting it straight with my hand. Now, the last and most important thing. Many times we found that the people who watch these safety videos are not the person actually doing the cooking. It's their significant other. Maybe their wife, maybe their husband, maybe one of their children, to make sure that mom or dad doesn't burn down the house, or more importantly, burn themselves. So one of the best gifts you can give, an early Christmas present, if you will, if you don't celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, Festival of Lights gift, it doesn't matter. Get them this. Anybody who works on a grill will appreciate this type of glove. This is rated to 930 degrees. It's waterproof, so you can go in boiling water, boiling oil, and it's 18 inches long, which means you are protected all the way up. Just to show you a difference between the standard 14-inch grilling gloves. Now, these are pretty good, but if you are lowering that in and there's any oil splash, this is, I'm a pretty tall guy, I got long arms, this is almost to my elbow. Now, you may be wondering, what are these things I have in my arms? In some of my other videos, especially the one about, you know, cleaning debris in your yard, or doing any type of lawn maintenance, especially with a weed whacker or a hedge trimmer, these are gauntlets for welding. These are much harder for sticks and twigs to get through, so they're great for that purpose. But more importantly, in this regard, yeah, if a little bit of oil splashes on this, it's not going to go all the way through. Now, are these waterproof? Not at all. So you understand that's why these 18-inch long gloves are helpful. Finally, what am I wearing here? Well, this is an impervious lab-based apron. So it can handle heat. I believe this one is rated up to 500 degrees. It will not burn, and it's waterproof. So if hot water gets on it or oil gets on it, it drips down, it doesn't get through. If you don't have one of these, you may be a welder. This is a welding apron. Welding apron is better than nothing. If you bump into the thing, it's not going to burn, the heat's going to get through, but oil can get through this if enough is on there. Now, if it's a splash, it's not getting through to your clothes. Finally, why am I doing this at night? Obviously, Thanksgiving, a lot of times we eat earlier in the day, but for some of us, we may, unfortunately, plan a little bit too late how long it's going to take us to cook the bird. So many of us, at one point or another, have been out in the dark trying to get that bird done, where someone's saying, how much more time, baby? So the last and most important thing, if it's going to be dark like this, is a headlight. Why do you need that? Because if you're dealing with boiling oil, you do not want to try to hold with one hand and try to hold the bird in the other. And if you're like me, it's hard to get people to come out and help when it's cold out and dark out and everybody's having fun eating munchies in there. So you want to have something to make your life easier. This is Dr. Grabow saying, have a healthy and wonderful Thanksgiving. Please keep it safe. If there's any concerns that you have that I haven't addressed in the video, please leave it in the comments or drop us an email through my website. More importantly, check out our other videos that are safety not only for Thanksgiving, but for all types of the year. Our goal is prevention. We see a lot of injuries in our office that unfortunately we can help, but we can never get them back to where they would be if we can prevent them. So really appreciate your attention. If you like what you see, please subscribe. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.